Cinema, the magic vehicle, a comprehensive guide. Journey 1, 1913 to 1950.
We know you need the key info from a whole pile of sources, and you need it, well, yesterday. We're here to cut through that noise for you. Today, we're digging deep into cinema history. We've got this amazing guide, Cinema, the Magic Vehicle. It covers films from 1913 right up to 81. We're using it to really focus on one specific, really foundational film, Victor Sjöström's 1921 Swedish silent movie, The Phantom Carriage, or Körkarlen.
That's right. And our goal here isn't just, a plot summary. We want to use these sources to really get how early cinema ticked. Where did the tech meet the big literary themes? And why is this film seen as this great masterpiece, but also kind of flawed? Uneven is the word the source uses.
Yeah, and that's where Cinema, the Magic Vehicle, is so valuable, isn't it? It's not just a list. It gives you the context, the political stuff, social changes, how all that shaped the filmmakers and what they were trying to say. It's a shortcut to the why.
Okay, so let's dive in. Starting with the roots of the Phantom Carriage. It's Swedish, directed by Victor Sjöström, and it comes from a story by Selma Lagerlöf, who won the Nobel Prize.
Right, and Swedish directors seem to really gravitate towards her work. Her writing was obviously powerful, but what made it work so well for silent film, you think, without the words?
Well, it was the whole mood, wasn't it? She tapped into centuries of this Scandinavian folklore, but mixed it with this really intense kind of brooding atmosphere that felt very contemporary, resonant. That visual potential was perfect for silent cinema's dramatic style.
And the sources mention there's a really personal angle to this story for Lagerlöf.
Oh, absolutely. Deeply personal. The story turns on this character, David Holm, a drunkard whose life is falling apart. And Lagerlöf's own father was an alcoholic. Sjöström knew this, and it gives that whole redemption arc this incredible weight. It's not just a story.
And that folklore element you mentioned, that's the engine of the plot, right? The ticking clock.
Exactly. The core legend is this. If you die right at midnight on New Year's Eve, tough luck. You are forced to drive the Phantom Carriage, collecting the souls of the dead for the entire next year. It's this grim, inescapable fate.
Okay, so this sets the stage for David Holm. And he's not exactly starting out as a hero. A drunk, abusive to his family. The film kicks off with him getting knocked out in a fight in a cemetery right on the stroke of midnight.
Precisely. And bam, he's visited by the ghost of the guy who died the year before, who happens to be one of his old drinking buddies and also a villain. David's now potentially the next driver. But what happens next isn't straightforward. It's this kind of dream journey where he has to confront his whole past.
Right, the big reckoning. He has to see how far he's fallen, and especially his impact on Sister Edith, the Salvation Army nurse.
Yeah, and that's the real gut punch. He sees how hard she tried to save in this desperate effort, and then realizes he's the one who gave her tuberculosis. He infected her. That is just brutal, especially for 1921 cinema. They didn't shy away from the darkness to get to that redemption.
The structure sounds incredibly tricky. On paper, you've got flashbacks, inside flashbacks, all layered within this dream state. But the source actually praises Sjöström for making it all hang together with remarkable clarity. How did he pull that off?
It's about pacing and using that figure of the phantom coachman. He acts as this sort of eerie guide, linking everything together. Even when David's mind jumps around in time, the constant presence of that carriage, that driver, it anchors you. It stops the complex structure just becoming, a mess.
And that clarity matters because it all builds towards a very specific time-sensitive ending.
Yes. Just before midnight strikes again, David has this profound change of heart. He decides he has to live decently, rushes home, and actually stops his wife, who's in complete despair, from killing herself.
Now, moving beyond the plot, stylistically, the sources say this film isn't really typical Swedish cinema of the time. Why not?
Well, the typical Swedish film then often really relied on these big, beautiful outdoor scenes, lots of landscape. The Phantom Carriage is almost the opposite. It's mostly interiors, very contained, and lives much more in this world of fantasy and psychology.
Which I suppose links it to German Expressionism, which was really taking off around then.
Definitely. There's a strong connection. Think of films like Caligari, the weird angles, the painted shadows, all meant to show inner turmoil. Sjöström is tapping into that vibe, although Phantom Carriage does lean a bit more on its inner titles, the text cards, than some of those purely visual German films.
Okay, but the thing that really blew people away in 1921, the technical achievement.
Oh, yeah. The special effects were greatly admired, as the source puts it. They used all sorts of camera magic, but the main one was multiple exposure, layering images on the same film strip, sometimes up to 4 layers. It was like the CGI of its day. Sjöström used it to make the ghosts look see-through, interacting with the real sets. Must have been mind-bending back then.
But here's where that contradiction comes in, right? That cutting-edge tech, hailed at the time, is now seen a bit differently. The analysis says its effectiveness today is very limited. It even suggests Sjöström was maybe heading down the wrong path, that he was better with simpler outdoor films like The Outlaw and His Wife.
And that technical critique connects right into the film's other major criticism, the content. The source points to excessive moralizing, sentimentality, and a naive description of the life of the poor.
Didactic pathos, they call it.
Exactly. Meaning it felt like it had to teach a lesson, sometimes really laying it on thick rather than just showing things. But, that kind of heavy-handed moralizing was almost required in the early 1920s cinema. There was this pressure to be instructional, wholesome.
That context is really important. It makes you wonder how it might have played out differently without those constraints.
It does. The source even throws out a comparison, asking how someone like Luis Buñuel might have tackled the Sister Edith storyline. Buñuel being famous for, attacking sentimentality and convention, it's basically asking, could the film have shaken off those period limitations?
Which brings up this interesting divide. Sjöström, the amazing actor in the film, versus Sjöström, the director of the film.
Yeah, as David Holm, he's apparently incredible, one of his best roles. He really nails the character's journey. But the analysis suggests that as the director, maybe he got a bit lost in the technical tricks, or perhaps felt bound by that need to moralize that we just talked about.
So, okay, if the effects feel dated now, and the message feels a bit too preachy or sentimental, what does make it endure? Why is it still considered a masterpiece? What did Sjöström absolutely nail?
It's the stuff beyond the gimmicks. It's the mood, that blend of dream and harsh reality. It's the rhythm of the film, the visual composition, the lighting. Julius Jaenzon's camera work gets singled out as masterly, particularly in those dream sequences.
The genuine artistry, the atmosphere that transcends the flaws. So, the final takeaway.
Well, the source is honest. It calls it an uneven film. But it insists there's one quality you just cannot deny, and this is what cements its legacy. The Phantom Carriage is considered the first genuine film of atmosphere.
So it's this fascinating puzzle, isn't it? A technical milestone, narratively brilliant in its clarity despite the complexity, but also kind of weighed down by the expectations and maybe the sentimentality of its era.
It is a perfect example of why we look back. You see these early films, flaws and all, and you realize how they were figuring out the language of cinema, the techniques we take for granted now. They laid the groundwork.
And thinking about those special effects, Sjöström's 1921 state-of-the-art tech, the multiple exposures being so impressive then, but kind of losing their punch now, it really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What about the super expensive, complex CGI in today's blockbusters? Will that look dated in a few decades? Will our technical marvels fade just as fast, leaving only, the real feeling, the atmosphere of a film as the thing that truly lasts?
That's definitely something to chew on until the next deep dive.